Hi, in this tutorial I will discuss about the Laravel blade syntax and blade directives, also about the blade files. In order to create a blade, we know that we have to go into resource folder, then there is views folder, and we can create our blade files here, okay? And our controller resides into the HTTP controllers folder. This is a fresh Laravel installation, so I am showing everything from scratch. This is routes folder, and we know there is a web route here, okay? Now what will I do? I will write my home controller. Suppose I have a controller that is student controller, okay? Student controller class index. I will write a method into the student controller, and that method name is index. What I will have to do, I will have to create a controller first. I will go to terminal, new terminal. Then I will create controller, php artisan make controller student controller, enter. We see that student controller file is created. Here I will create function, public function, then index, okay? This is our index function. I am calling the index function into my web route. I will have to call this student controller now, that is in http app http controllers, then there is student controller. I will have to define the path in this way. So I have controller file and I have route. I will now return the view, return view, and suppose this is welcome view. That welcome view is here. I am going to remove this. Test, okay? I am going to test if it is running. Now I am going to refresh the main home page, and you see that the text is test. So this is working. Now I will discuss about the blade directives, okay? There are a lot of blade syntax or directives. Suppose this is a way how we can show the output of a variable. I am going to show you from the beginning. Go to student controller, and here I will declare an array. Suppose the array name is data, and I put some variable here. This is associative array. Name is Morshidul Arifin. Email is arifin@gmail.com, and suppose phone number, I give anything here, this. Now if I want to send this data into the view, what I will do, I will have to pass the data into my blade file, okay? But you see that this is an array. I can give a name here, suppose student name. So you can send this data here, okay? Now I can call the student name into my blade file, but before going to the blade, I am checking using the dd if this is working data. If I want to run this in this way, we see that here under student name we get a complete array values. student name is the array, and there we have put all the information. Okay, now I will go to pass this data into Blade, but before going to Blade I am doing one thing. Suppose you have declared an array and some values are here. Now if you want to show the array values, associative array values, what we normally do in PHP, we just call the for each loop. Okay, we just call the for each, and here what we do, that is we put the variable name as value. Here we can echo our value, and I am going to return, to make this return value of, I am going to check if this is working or not. Refresh, you see that name, email and phone, and after each value there is a hyphen here, this symbol. Okay, so this is working. We can do the same thing in the Blade file. Suppose this is welcome.blade.php. Okay, now I want to pass this array here using the data. I start the return and I am going to make it off. Okay, now I can run the same thing in the Blade file. In the Blade, if I want to use the PHP, just I am going to show you. I am just going to show you if it works or not. This value will be student name here, and I am going to run my application. You see that this is working. Okay, in the top there is a name text, and after that I just run the PHP codes that we did similarly in the controller. So the student value is showing here. This is working, but as we are using .blade.php, this is okay that you can normally write this way, but this is not recommended way, because we will use the Blade directives here. So in order to use the Blade directive, we will never write the PHP tags. We will not write the PHP tags. So if you remove the PHP tags, this will not be executed because this is not valid. But we can make this valid using our Blade syntax, Blade file syntax. So what I will do is I will apply @ here for each, and in Blade directives you will have to start and you also will have to end that. So we cannot use the curly brace here. Instead of curly brace we will use here end for each. Okay, so we start for each and end for each. In this way we can define the for each loop in the Blade file. Echo, we will not use echo because we will have to use the Blade syntax. So we will use the double curly braces to print our value. So this value we will put here, and after that if you want you can use hyphen, or if we want to show the value is value in one line, then we can simply use any HTML here, bear tag. I am going to refresh. You see that this is working. So this is the Blade syntax that we have used here, for each. Instead of using the for each, you can use other Blade directives. Suppose you can use for. If we want to write a loop, suppose I want to print from 1 to 10, from 1 to 10 using PHP for loop. This is our for loop. Okay, we will have to end using the end for syntax, and into there you can print anything. Suppose I want to print the value of I and give a space after that, so I can give a space. Refresh. Sorry, this space will not be like this. Space is actually into PHP, so this way. Okay, I print 1 to 10. So this way you can use for loop. There is another one, that is if. Suppose you can use if and if else. Suppose I declare a value I equal 10. Okay, but you cannot directly declare it this way because this is a PHP syntax. So I will have to put PHP and in PHP. You will have to put the variable into PHP blade directive because this is a PHP code. Okay, so if now I declare, I am going to comment this out. Control slash. You see that into Laravel blade file, that means .blade.php. If you want to comment anything, you will have to use this syntax: double curly brace, double hyphen, double hyphen, double curly brace, ending curly brace. Okay, this is comment system. So anyway, I have just declared I equal to 10. Now I check if I equal 10. Suppose we want to print something. This is fine. Else, that means if the value of I is not 10, this is not fine. I put another thing, and at last I will have to put end if. So if, end if, else. Okay, now if I refresh, you see that this is fine because I have put the value of I equal to 10. Now if I put another value, this is not fine. Okay, so in this way we can use a lot of blade directives. And in the Laravel website, google.com, if you go to Laravel, the official website, this one comes. In this website you can search blade you see that here is a detail about the blade. Okay, all the syntax you will get here, a lot of system blade directive. Okay, if a statement that we have checked, else if, you can use else if, you can use is set, you can use empty, etc. You can use auth, end auth. Okay, you will get a lot of instructions here, and you can use anything. You can use while loop, in while and end while. Another one that is very interesting is that suppose I am going to make it on and make this off, also make this off. You see that we used a for each loop here, student name. But if we do not get any values, or sometimes it can happen in front of you that you did not get any value in the for each loop, in that case what you will do? In that case, instead of using for each, we can use for else. Okay, for else and end for else. The advantage of using is that when this loop will run and you will get is value, this is fine and it will work as usual. But if it does not come, then we can use the for else. Normally the loop will go, no issue, but when we will not get any value, we can use another one, that is empty. Okay, here we can write something like this: sorry, no result is found. So in this way you can use the for else loop. You see that in all the cases we are using double curly braces, but instead of using double curly braces, you can use this one also. What is the difference between double curly brace and this one? The difference is that if you use the double curly braces like before, this one is escaping the input value from user. That means this value will be escaped using the HTML special cats, this function. That means an attacker will not be able to attack you using the XSS attack. But if you use this type of syntax, then the escaping will not work and the value will be directly printed in front of you. And if an attacker use any kind of codes or any type of malicious codes or any kind of script codes, then it will execute it. So I hope you have understood how the BLEC directives work.